No drunk drivers. Happy birthday to my Queen Shayla. Happy birthday, Shayla. You know I love you, always will. Man, I'm just reflecting on this day. Reflecting, she was always big on birthdays. So today I was thinking, I don't know, for some reason I kept thinking about this time we were dating, or yeah, we were just dating at that time. We wasn't even a couple. But I don't know, I always thought about that. I shared that story a couple of times because, you know, I like to, because it shows a different side of her. You know, I always tell people everybody knows her being smiley and polite and things like that, but she had other sides too. Like I say, she was always an all or nothing type person. And if she didn't like something, she'll tell you no, She'll tell you no. Told me no plenty of times. So trust me, she says no. No, no, no. Had no problem saying that, but yeah. And yeah, so on this day, we ended up in a Walmart parking lot, of all places, a Walmart parking lot, I remember. And it was more like a recap of our date that we went on. I'm not too sure what we did. I do remember we were dressed up, so it had to have been a date. But yeah, we were in there, in that parking lot. It was in my vehicle, and we were just talking. We're just talking, like I say, most likely about the recapping of the date. And for some reason, in my head, I was like, well, we always kind of had these good talks. We go out on these outings. So I'm like, what are we? What's going on? She's a very nice woman. So I'm like, hey, what we got going on here? So I remember, I don't know, I forgot when I brought it up. Was it towards the end or not? I'm not sure. But I remember kind of just being nonchalant about it. Like, hey, so, all right, Shayla, we've been talking for a little bit and have a great time together. Seem like we got great chemistry and stuff like that. And I don't know, just trying to see where we at. What you how you feel about us, or what are we? And she was like, well, I don't know. You tell me. So I'm like, okay, she want to put it back on me again. So I'm like, yeah, well, you know, we like I said, we have a good time together. I like the time we spend together. Enjoy your company. Kind of seemed like we boyfriend, girlfriend. She's like, well, yeah, it does feel that way. So I was like, well, in my head, I was like, well, might as well inch it a little bit further. Let me go ahead and see how far I can take this thing. So I'm like, well, since we both kind of feel that way, I guess we are, huh? I guess we are boyfriend, girlfriend. And you know, I figured that seemed to be an easy transition. And she was like, no, we not boyfriend, girlfriend. I didn't say all that now. I'm like, what you mean? Hold up. So it kind of threw me off. I'm like, where's she going with this? She's like, well, you never asked me. All right, well, I kind of did in a way, right? She's like, no, you need to ask me. If we're going to be boyfriend, girlfriend, you're going to ask me. So I thought she was playing, but she was dead serious. So at that point, I had a decision to make. Was I going to let my ego get in the way? And yes, everybody has an ego. So my ego was, mind you, this all this stuff playing off in my head. So my ego is telling me like, man, you don't need to jump through all these hoops. Man, forget all that, man. There's plenty of fish in the sea. Finna jump through all these hoops. You know what time it is. We've been dating and all this. I mean, of course, everything cool is fine. Why you won't mess up the vibe and put all these titles to it or whatever and making it all official and formatted a certain way or whatever. And so that was my ego. But my brain was more like, fool, you know you got your good woman. If that's all she want, just to make her happy, of course, I mean, that's a no-brainer. Go ahead and ask her out, man. Be a man. Man up. So that's played out in my head. And of course, I made the right decision. And I made a joke out of it because I remember first I had to make sure she was serious, but she was. And she clarified it. And so I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'm going to ask her to be my girlfriend. You know, that was strange. That was kind of hallmarkish to me, but hey, if that's what she wanted, that's what she wanted. So I remember I grabbed her hand and, you know, I'm looking at her, but then I started getting nervous because I kind of felt like I was proposing to her. So, you know, I started getting nervous or whatever. And I remember I asked her, and you know, like in a playful way. I'm not sure verbatim what I said, but it was more on the lines of, and I remember changing my voice to, you know, kind of just play around with it. And I was asking her like, oh, okay, Shayla, well, I've enjoyed the time that we spent together, and I would like for us to continue to spend these times together. So Shayla, I am asking you, will you be my girlfriend? And then she plays along with it. Well, Brian, sure, I would love to be your, well, I'm finna say boyfriend. No, we ain't doing that. Yeah, no, but she, you know, she played along with it. Like, Brian, I would love to be your girlfriend. And so that's kind of like how the deal was sealed. And I don't know, for some reason I always remember that day, that evening. And, you know, like I said, I always try to tell these stories so y'all can kind of envision the person that I knew. So I knew a person who, everybody knows the polite side, smile and all this stuff, but like I said, she was a all or nothing type of person. It was either all or nothing. Not 85%, not 90, had to be 100. If it wasn't 100, the way she wanted it, not so much the way she wanted it, or maybe it was the way she envisioned it, and she had her mind set on it, that was it. No budging, no negotiating, no nothing. It was it. 100 or 0. So, and as I look back, I can almost guarantee you, if I did not formally ask her to be my girlfriend, we wouldn't have, that would have been it. Everything it would have been cut off. That would have been it. I'm almost sure. But nah, that was cool though. You know, she had her standards and she stuck to them. So that's something that I always remember. And also, I remember I was reflecting. I thought about when we were, okay, this was after we were boyfriend, girlfriend. So this was about 2 months, maybe 3 months. So we were boyfriend, girlfriend at this time, about 3 months. And I remember we were at a park and I forgot, we must have been talking about the future, you know, where do we see ourselves in the next few years, maybe like 5 years down the line. So we always had those talks. And for some reason, I don't know, I just felt comfortable telling her all this stuff. I was joking, but I was serious too. I also I wanted to see where her head was at. So, but I was serious though. I know I was. I don't even play around like that. I was serious. Yeah, I'm back now. Man, them allergies. Whew, I had my nose messing up. All right, so where was I? Yeah, where do we see ourselves in the next 5 years? And so at that point, I remember saying something. It wasn't talking about a career or anything like that, because I was like, well, I'm not too sure where I see myself working or staying. I said, but within the next few years, by that time, one thing I do know, or I have a strong feeling, is that we'll probably be married by that time. Don't know if we'll have kids, but at that time, at that moment, but I knew we'll be married. And I remember telling her that. Man, she looked at me like I was crazy. I remember that look on her face. I thought I blew it. I thought oh man, I didn't scare her away. But she was looking at me like, what? I'm like, yeah, you know. I say, think about it. We're adults. We didn't have priors or whatever, you know. everybody live. Didn't have priors, didn't work out for whatever reason. We must know what we want. Pushing 30, or we were pushing 30 or whatever in that range, or in the 30s, lower 30 or whatnot, upper 20s. We know you don't have forever, so I'm breaking all this stuff down to it. I'm not sure if I said it. I know I didn't say it in that fashion, but I was just going down the line. I'm like, in the way that we headed, everything is great. If we keep going on this trajectory, I don't see why not. Yeah, you ask me how I'm feeling, that's the way I'm feeling. So, yeah, I remember, but yeah, she was looking at me like I was crazy. Like, this fool done lost his mind. But yeah, that moment was funny. That was just a funny moment to me. And I like that moment. And another reflection I have is, another reflection I have is, I remember she used to like to line dance. Yeah, she'd do all that line dancing. And she would have Braylon, holding Braylon on her, on her shoulder. And she'd be bouncing around. And she always, she practiced that, or she just liked dancing to that, I forgot the name of the artist, but the song, that Hater song or whatever. The raise both hands up, do 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 do. If you know you got a hater, she just be bouncing around. Boy, had Braylon on his shoulder, they just bouncing. So every time and it seemed like I would always catch her doing that when maybe I'm coming home from work, or maybe I was coming from the store or something, and she'd be jamming out, music full blast, and they used to have a good time, man. And so I used to love joining in on that. I didn't do the actual line there. I was just more like just jumping around and just acting a fool, trying to make her laugh or just mess her up or whatever. But I remember seeing Braylon. He just sitting there with his eyes. He didn't know what was going on. He used to have like a confused look on his face. And so I remember I used to just follow him around. So she be doing all this bouncing around. And I would be behind, but I'd be looking at him, and just messing with him and all this stuff. So, yeah, man, I remember those moments. Those were the good times, though. But, yeah, so hope you all enjoyed this. It's been a while. It's been a little minute. But, man, I ain't stopping. I'm always I ain't going nowhere. Still got a lot to do. Still have a whole lot to do. Like I said, just keeping the engine warm. So while we keeping it warm, we're gonna share these memories. We're gonna keep her name, family's name, in a positive light, and we're gonna keep this thing pushing. All right. So till next time, I'll holler at y'all. Peace.